Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode from TCG 353. Today we are playing some Red Blue Ace versus Purple Enel, two of the biggest decks in the format at the moment, coming up against each other, just back-to-back games. So without talking too much, thanks for the wait and let's get into our first game. It is against, surprise, Purple Enel. We play out a Garb first to start and we draw I Am Whitebeard. We have a Whitebeard in our hand already, so it's a good start for us. We are going first. We took that from our opponent, and we on our turn 2 played an Otama, draw 2, trash 1, trash card from hand, and swing 8 at our opponent, which they are of course going to take. They have a Satori and they have an Ohm on the board. We'll see which one they choose to swing with now. They get their sequencing sort of wrong, but not really. Really what happened here is that they chose to use the leader ability earlier so that they could get the Holy out. And they have that out now, so they have 2 double attackers on the board, which is quite scary for us. We'll see what our opponent does with it next turn. Unfortunately for them, we have the Atmos in hand, so we bounce the Holy back to hand. Our opponent seems to be committing to the idea of getting a double attack off, so they play Holy out on their next turn. And we will see what they do now. They play out another Holy, and here they go, swing 6k into us as a double attack, which we are of course going to counter out. We trash one of the I Am Whitebeard events with our Ace ability, and our opponent swings 6 into us, which we take. So now our opponent has somebody tilted left, but more than anything, it's just these Holies on board that are scary. But I mean, they can only swing up one of them next turn, and if they want to invest all their Don into it, that's fine. What we are going to do now is just play as normal. So we are actually able to freeze one Holy and bottom deck another with this Bow Hancock in hand, which is really nice. There's one Bow Hancock in this deck, and it is specifically for this Enel matchup, because being able to freeze and bottom deck their 1 cost is actually very valuable in this matchup specifically. So now we'll see what our opponent does. They swing 8 into us with the Holy. We have counter for that. We also had counter if they wanted to go 10 into us as well. They choose for 8 and 7. We do not take the 8, block out of that, or counter out of that, and take the 7. So now their double attack is kind of irrelevant because we only have 1 life, so bear that in mind. As the turn sequence on, we use the event to play out a Newgate, attach 2 Don to our leader, swing 8, see what they do, ... They take that and we swing 10 into their lead as well. They choose not to use the Raging Blocker because possibly they're waiting for it to become a 7k body so that they can be more aggressive into life later on. We'll see how that works out for them. It'll make most sense for our opponent here now to use the Holy aggressively. There's no point in keeping it standing because the double attack isn't all that relevant. It's just that it's a 4k body now is what's strongest about it. Our opponent uses a Lightning Chitin to minus to our Hancock and uses an Ohm to get another minus to our Hancock. And now we have a decision to make here whether we want to protect this Atmos or not. You could be thinking that it might not be worth it, but really what's happening here is our opponent is probably going to freeze our Hancock because it's at 6k. And so if we got rid of this, or if we lost this Atmos, then we would only have our leader and our Newgate to swing, and our Newgate is a very powerful blocker, so we kind of want to leave that as a blocker as is. So we choose not to give them that. We swing 7 on our next turn after our opponent passes to us. Swing 8 with the Atmos. Sequencing is important here because we kind of want to pretend to our opponent that we have maybe cards to play rather than swinging big bodies. Unfortunately for us, we have 2 Udas in hand, and we also have 2 3k counter events for our leader. So 3 blockers up, and our opponent has maybe 4 swings possible, and we still have 1 life. I think we are in a good spot to be able to last out another turn. If our opponent chooses to go into board, then we'll manage that when it comes. Our opponent goes for a play here now where they use Divine Departure onto our Boa Hancock minus AK and then uses an Altor to get rid of that off the board now. So they are going to swing into our board, and if they're able to take out our board consistently, then That means they pretty much have, or we lose our lethal potential next turn. And now you will see a clear blunder from me here where I used a 1-cost event to protect my character. A bit silly of me. It would have been handier and more useful to be able to use it as a trash leader fodder. As leader fodder for, as fodder for the leader ability, blah blah blah. They swing with the Ohm to minus down the Atmos, and they're able to swing 4k into it. At this stage, if we hadn't blundered at the start, we would have been able to keep that on board, but unfortunately not. Our opponent swings 8k into our life we take, swings 10 with the Newgate, and we counter. And the reason we're countering there is because we want to leave all our Utas standing, because we think it's going to be relevant for us when we're going for lethal. So we swing first 8. They take the block, so we just start mathing. We swing 7, which they take, and then there's no point in not swinging 17 because it is guaranteed, and our opponent considers for a second. No, I believe our opponent conceded, and my editing skills need to be brushed up on. But good game to our opponent, and let's get right into the next game, which is against, you guessed it, Purple Enel. We're going first again because we chose to, I believe. One of these games our opponent actually gave us first, rather taking the second curve off us, which is our stronger curve. And you can see as our hand looks now, we would have a very good time if we were going second here because our curve is so nice for that. On our opponent's turn now, they play out the Reiju and use an Altor to KO the Isho from hand and swing 6 at our leader, which we take because we have leader ability. We would like to gain that card back. We use an Atmos, and we're actually able to bounce this Reiju back to hand because they don't have enough events in hand to add cost to it, which is very fortunate for us actually. And this Atmos has come up twice now in these 2 games, so it is a very useful card to have even in this Enel matchup. You might just think it's good against Cavendish or other Marcos, but it does come up here, and it might come up later on in future games. You'll just have to wait and see. So our opponent swings 6 with their Ohm, and they begin minusing down to our Atmos, but fortunately for us, they don't have either a Mamaragan or they don't have an Altor, because they could have taken that out easily enough. It is 7 down for us, and we don't have anything to perfectly play out on 7 down, so we attach 1 down to our leader, swing 7, so it goes 5-7, and play out the Hancock to bottom deck the Ohm. We could have swung into the Ohm if we wanted and got rid of the Shiryu. However, just bottom decking the Ohm is better for us, in my opinion. And yes, they get to have 2 swings this turn, but also we were able to be more aggressive into their life, which on the long term I think is more beneficial. But you can let me know in the comments what you think. It is now the 9 down turn, so of course we are going to play the Newgate ability. We consider for a second taking top or bottom life, which we don't choose to do. And now we are going to trash an event from our hand, another I am Whitebeard event. Attach to Don, swing 8 at lead, he takes, swing 9 at lead, they take. Our opponent is now practicing hoarding, which is when they hold every single card in the game in their hand. We'll see what they do here now with all those cards. They use a Divine Departure and a Mamaragan to minus 8k to our Newgate and also to rest it. We'll see whether they have either the Lightning Dragon or they have the Althor. They've used a few Althors this game now, so maybe they don't have that on access. Choose to swing 6 into us, we give them a 1k, we haven't used leader ability yet. So we'll see how they want to do this. If we take this, then we'd be facing down 14k swing, which we don't really have counter for. So we just give them 2, 4, and a 5 and a 1 here. And what it looks like in a crack pack now from their board could be a 14 again, or it could be a 7 possibly and a 10, which we do have counter for. So fortunately enough. We'll see here now how they split. Yeah, and they choose to go onto the Shura. and it's a 7 of course, and they swing into the Atmos. We let this go because we want to be able to protect our Hancock rather than our Atmos. We use leader ability and give them a 2k. And now with our hand, there may be better math to what happens here. So we could have just split evenly between our boa and our ace, but what we choose to do instead, since both of our swings are more than Mamaragan range, is we just swing 6 first to test the waters to give us a 2k. And now we are thinking of going all in with the boa, but the quick math in my head was that they were both the same plan, because eventually what we're going to do is play out the Goldie Roger to finish and swing 13. So I think, I think the boa would have been more effective actually, because we swung. It's hard to say. I think in that moment I did the math and it was pretty much equal, so I went for the more stylish play, which was the Goldie Roger to finish as a rush card. Anyway, good game to our opponent, and let's get into the next one. It's up against Purple Enel. Yes, it is. We are going first again. Sorry I couldn't get second gameplay from this. A lot of the Enels that I faced up against actually chose to go second against us to take away our curve. So it was a bit more difficult than what I expected. I thought most Enels would always go first. We have in our hand 2 Marcos, a Josu, 2 Udas, and a cost Whitebeard event. We have played down a bunch of searchers, so our hand is pretty good at the moment, and it's what we chose it to be. Our opponent has a Shura, Holy, and an Ohm, so their board state is looking very, very strong, and they just added to it now with this 6 cost Enel, which is a very, very good card, of course, but it's a very good card given their board state at the moment, because they are able to do double attacks and have a big boss monster as well. So their board pressure is huge at the moment. They swing 2 into us and minus the Marco down 1k. We cross our fingers and hope they don't have a Maragan to be able to rest this. Marco. We'll see here now whether they do or don't. It would have been, if they do and they swing 6 at the moment, there's an argument to take the block for free here. But however, we would rather just sort of roll the dice, because blocking out of a double attack that is 8k is much more beneficial for us, and also Enel is going to have Mamarag, and so getting it out of the way early is probably better rather than them using it for lethal later on. We also still have enough counter to be able to get out of this AK swing. And Ace, although it usually has a high hand size, going down low in hand size isn't all that detrimental, because we can get it back so easily. So yes, they do have the Mamarag, and we see that now. We trash our Uda, and we trash our Uda because we want to keep the Josu in hand to potentially bounce the Holy back. Or we could swing into it. We'll find out now. Our opponent is probably considering whether they want to freeze our Marco or not, because they can't swing into it anymore, and yes, they choose to freeze it. We have in our hand a Josu, which we will soon use, trust that. We swing 7 into our leader, and they Mamaragan and El Tor, so they are still sitting at 3 life, as are we. We bounced that Holy back to hand, so now they don't have a double attack on board, which is very, very useful for us. We also bounced the 2k back to hand, which is very much appreciated for this next turn, and also just for getting more hand size, which you want. There's a Don on our leader as well, so eventually we'll be able to draw an extra card when we take a hit, and if they'd like to swing into the Marco, then they will have to give us 2 cards. So our hand size will soon come back to life. We'll see what happens here. Now regarding it, they use the Ohm to minus the Josu, and then use a minus power and a Mamaragan to rest it. We'll see if they want to freeze it afterwards. They actually turn out to throw 6 at our face and a 7 at our face again. Okay, and now they swing 10 into the 5. Whether they freeze the Marco or not is a question of how much cards they want to use, and yes, they do. They choose to freeze the Marco, and here, in my opinion, we do have a little bit of a choice to make. Use the Yamato and Cavendish to gain a better board state, or just get this Whitebeard out early. Great blocker, of course, and also having the 2 The 2 Dawn attached leader is handy, and it's really nice tempo play, so we choose that. However, there could be an argument to be made about using the Yamato and the Cavendish. We actually trashed the Cavendish with the draw 2 and trash ability, and now our hand is looking pretty strong for counter, to the point that we think we'll be fine to survive the next turn and maybe the next coming turns, especially when we need to dig a little deeper. The only shame of playing out that Newgate was actually that we gave 2 down to Marco, who actually could not swing. If they have another freeze event in their hand, well then, good for them, I guess. Not so good for us. Yes, they do. They must have drawn into that with the Frankie just there. So we'll see what happens here now regarding that. Opponent swings 6 into us, and we are considering what to do here for a second. And we give them 1k counter. Yep, that's fine. And they swing another 6 into us, and we'll see how that goes here now. Okay, now it's our turn, and we choose to play out the Yamato immediately. The reason behind this is getting the Dawn attached and actually getting the draw as well, because we do need a bit of hand size to be able to negotiate this next turn. So our hand is looking quite strong here, a bunch of bricks, but also quite defensive. And so we're now set up, and we'll see what our opponent does for their turn. So they have a 7k body, a 10k body, a 5k body, and 2 2ks, which they can use with their leader ability to get the 6 quite easily. They choose as a first protocol to use Divine Departure against their Newgate to drop it down to 4k. Either they have an Althor or they have a Mama Ragan to actually be relevant here. We'll soon find out. We have a Don under leader, and we also have ourselves a Marco, and the Marco is probably more valuable as a blocker at this stage of the game, just for the reason that it's going to draw a bunch. We'll see what our opponent does here now. Okay, they're swinging the Ohm, so you can bet now that they have something like an Althorn hand to be able to, 1, make their swings bigger, and 2, to enable them to KO that Newgate. So by the way, Newgate, we get the leader ability off, so we get the draw card when they KO that Newgate. And we'll see now if they choose to clear the board. If they do, well then they're giving us a bit of value and would probably take it. However, it's best that they swing into our life here, because we would rather keep the bodies on board as swingers later on. So we give them 1k when they swing 6. We choose not to block here and just give them a 2k, so we still have leader effect on 9. We have that 1 down up to be able to minus 3k, and we choose for this 10k swing to take the block and draw 2 cards, draw into 2 more bricks, which is a bit unfortunate there. Especially that Zoro is only character rush. I don't think it's going to be helping us get to finish the opponent off next turn very much. So let's see what they're thinking here. Now they use a Lightning Beast to minus 1k to our Yamato again. So the Yamato is now 4k, and they use an Altor to buff up their Reiju to swing 8 into us. Potentially they thought that Altor was minus can KO 4ks, which is unfortunate for them, I guess, but look, it's the way it crumbles. We have enough counter to get out of that, and now what you're going to see here is actually a very, very nice turn from us. We play the Atmos out, we reveal 2 Whitebeards and drop the Frankie off the board, put it back into their hands, so they're gone down 1 blocker now. We have the option to go for lethal, but like, we're not going to get it, of course we're not, so we don't bother. And what we do is we swing into the Ohm, and they give us that freely, and we will soon play out the swing 6 first. I don't want to ruin any spoilers or nothing, but we, after our opponent gives us 2 1ks, which is telling of their hand actually, we use the Bow Hancock to freeze their Enel and bottom deck their pudding, so they actually only have 2 swings now for the next turn, and we have a blocker and 2k counter, I guess, but with the option to be able to pull into more with our leader ability. Because their only swinger is their blocker, they have to turn it sideways, allowing us to go for lethal next game pretty easily, or next turn pretty easily. If they choose to swing into our Yamato, then most likely what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to give them counter here. There's no point in letting this go, but we'll take the free block now because we really want them to turn that blocker sideways. If they don't, that's fair enough. And so what we're going to do is use the minus effect so that they can't get any free blocks off and just start peppering them with smaller swings. 7s are good. We don't want to throw 5 at them with that because we'd just be giving them free Mamaragan value. So we throw the 7, they take. Remember as well, last turn they gave us 2 1k counters, so they're probably weak on counter. They give us an L-Tor and an Ohm for the 7s, so we're going to throw. What we have now is we're just counting up what we have. If we attach 2 here, then that's 8, but we already have an AK body on board, so we might as well just go and swing with the AK we already have established, which is the Boa. Swing 8 into 5. This goes through very good. Now you have to remember as well, they still have that blocker up. We swing 9 and it looks that we mathed it out perfectly. So the last turn they had 8k counter. They must have pulled into that 1k counter at the end. So they have 9k counter now, but we were swinging 2 9ks. So they would have blocked 1, given us 9k counter, and wouldn't have been enough. So a good game to our opponent. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the matchups of Red Blue Ace against Purple Enel. I think the Boa Hancock is probably the greatest tech for this matchup in the deck, but you saw here as well that the Atmos actually came in very clutch and the Josie worked out as well. So having that bounce back to hand is quite useful against Enel because Enel plays things on tempo and curve so often that it actually is that when it comes to a certain stage in the game, Enel only wants to use the Enel Boss Monster card. So if you can say send a Frankie or a Reiju or a Holy back to hand and they have to play that out again next turn, well then you're slowing down their tempo for another turn and allowing yourself to establish your board more and more. Thanks very much for watching. If you liked, leave a like, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe, and have a great day for yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.